Tomorrowland and Absolute share a vision of a more equal and diverse tomorrow, actively pursued to their co-created platform United We Dance and its Diversity and Inclusion Committee. This year, they have united to strengthen human connection and promote cross-cultural exchange globally to help combat loneliness. Welcome to the United We Dance podcast. My name is Camille Polly, and over the next 6 episodes, we'll invite you to get to know some of the many Tomorrowland artists on a more personal level. Get ready for candid discussions about human connection, personal stories, and inspirational chats.
I think it's just a chill vibe, guy, just relaxing, enjoying life.
His music is, it's like trance.
It's just a good vibration. It's awesome. I like it very much.
Especially the lights and the effects. Very good.
He's trying to connect with the people in there.
He's just a really happy person, so it makes me want to dance and engage with him and his music.
I waited for him 1 year to see him finally because I never met him.
10 out of 10. It was fire.
It's always heartwarming to hear the people of tomorrow talk about their favorite artists, isn't it? Welcome in the studio, Rose Rings.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much for squeezing us in right before you have to perform on the Freedom Stage.
Yes, in 1 hour and 15 minutes.
How do you feel about the performance?
Excited, a bit nervous because I looked forward to this performance a lot, but I'm very excited.
It's 20 years, Tomorrowland, 20th anniversary. How do you feel about Tomorrowland this summer?
Oh, it's crazy. I have to admit, this is the first time I'm here. So this is my first time at Tomorrowland weekend, and I'm playing 4 times in total. So that's crazy. But I've been seeing and watching it for all my life. So it's a cultural thing. It's such a big thing in dance industry. We always used to watch the after movies and everything. Yeah. And it's very nice to see a shift in the sound. It used to be EDM everywhere, and now it's more focusing on the newer genres, which I like.
Yeah. So big weekends, and we all know that for artists, connecting with their fans is important. That's why gigs are for. But it's also that it's a challenge to do this when there are a lot of fans. How do you stay connected to your fans?
Well, to me, it's still feasible. And I really like it. I like to talk to the people, and I always reply on everyone who's. I think the most contact is by Instagram and other social media platforms, but most of it is Instagram. And I have very nice conversations with people, and it keeps me very grounded, which I like. And I do it for other people. I do it for myself, but also for other people. And it's still feasible now. I can imagine at one point it's not going to be feasible, but I will find a way then to do something about it.
Yeah, you really, start when you come up as a DJ, you start to create a community of fans. Yeah. How would you describe your community of fans? What kind of people are part of that community?
Well, I always try to pinpoint this, but I think you attract the people that see something in you, which as an artist, which they like and which has some similarity. And I'm a quite open and energetic person. So I notice a lot of people are open and they talk to me about stuff. I'm writing an album for my mother who passed away when I was younger. And now I get all these nice messages because I have a new track out today. It's called Stay With Me, and it's the first single of the album. And I get messages by people with similar stories, which is really nice. So I think the people that connect with my music have some emotional background, some stuff that I went through. And I think they all have a love for melody and harmony somewhere.
Yeah, so through the DMs that you get, through the messages that you get, would you say that you connect with them in a very meaningful way? Something that means that, kind of gives back to you too?
Yeah, it gives back to me. Most certainly. I also I used to always post videos on my story in the studio where I made tracks, and then I would notice from the amount of replies and the amount of likes, if it would resonate. So
that's a good
good feedback loop.
Yeah, that's a good way to already tap into it, because I can imagine if you're performing, that's an even bigger, kind of feedback than with social media. But it's amazing that you can already kind of have a feel of, is this something that people would love?
Yeah. And also, for instance, what I like is, so I played in the train yesterday from Amsterdam to Antwerp for the Tomorrowland train. And then there were 2 wagons with DJs like mine and another one. And I wondered because I didn't play so much like mainstream hits and stuff until the end. I played a few, but I wondered maybe the other Wagoon is more because they have more hits and more mainstream stuff in the other one, and that one is popping. And and then in the end, the guy came to me. Of course, it's one person, so I don't know what's the truth. But he was like, "Yo, the party was so much better here. Like it was so much. It was very boring there. This one was very good." So I like that kind of feedback. So I know, like, okay, this is how I did. You know,
Yeah.
you have no clue sometimes.
Yeah. You're just trying stuff out, and you're trying stuff out that you like.
Yeah, and based on the audience too,
Yeah.
of course.
If we go back in time, in what way have mentors or role models played a part in your development as an artist?
I think I got inspired by a lot of musicians, but that's more based on their music. I don't have like a mentor currently. I learn from some older DJs, and I learn mostly in a musical way. So, for instance, with Solomon, by studying how he plays and by which tracks he signs and he doesn't sign. I know I've learned a lot about groove and like how to get the audience going, and he's really tracks he releases are like really working, and you notice that. And also Joris Voorn, who is my neighbor,
That's a good neighbor.
that's the best neighbor. yeah. And he's also very down to earth, and he inspired me a lot in ways in music. For instance, he doesn't like too big breaks, and he likes to keep the groove going. So in a musical way, they inspire me because they have so much experience as DJs, so they know a lot of stuff. So those could be like my tutors a little bit in a musical sense of way.
And talk a little bit more openly, like who taught you how to express yourself freely? Because I think that's that's part of being a very important part of being a DJ, an artist.
I think I recently heard a podcast which was really interesting about like a psychology podcast about how your authenticity is very important as a human, and you have to trust your intuition. And I always thought, no, you should trust your rationality. That's what I thought that would be the wisest. But then he had an explanation. If you were like in the wild, when we didn't have like a modern society, and you were in the wild, you had to trust your intuition if there would be a tiger in the bushes.
True.
You wouldn't know, but something inside you would have seen that, and you would survive. Instead of like, there's only 1% chance that I'm staying. That would be rational, and you wouldn't survive. The tiger would kill you. So living intuitively is very important. And I noticed that as an artist too, that following my intuition more and more and more is very, very important. And I think that comes from early age. I had a very loving mother who hugged me a lot, who was very loving, and would always ask me about my feelings in a more of like, why are you sad? What happened? Please explain. And I think that's the most important thing you can do as a parent to your kids, so they can express themselves when they're older.
Yeah, that you treat them as a fellow human rather than
and you
parent
understand their
kid.
emotions. I've learned it's very important to say, "Oh, you're angry. I understand," instead of "Why are you angry?" So every emotion should be something that needs to be acknowledged.
Yeah. So you're playing Tomorrowland 4 times. You started traveling more as a DJ abroad as well, and I imagine you meet loads of people from various cultures. Can you maybe share a personal story where connecting with someone from a different culture profoundly impacted your perspective on life?
So I have a very recent one, because in the train gig I did yesterday, you had like groups of people for 20 minutes, like 5 or 6 groups.
Okay.
And the first group were a lot of South Americans with Venezuelan flags and everything. And I noticed so much energy, like went through the roof. The first group, like, okay, so if this is going to be the whole train ride, it's going to be this is going to be a fun time. And then I noticed different kind of energies in the groups after, based on their nationality. So I thought maybe I should start one day live in Brazil or something, because I really like this, like going full on.
Yeah.
So that's something I really appreciated.
Like not going or going full on.
Yeah,
no,
and
no
it's just
in
like
between.
we're gonna party, so we're gonna party. I'm the same, like 0 to 100.
Yeah. We see loads of people being creative with their outfits, expressing themselves. Why is Tomorrowland the place to do that?
I think that everyone can do whatever they want here. They can be whatever they like. It's the place to express yourself. Like, you can feel the freedom everywhere.
We are all different, all from different countries.
Whatever flag you have, whatever thing you believe in, you should wear it, you should believe in it, you should talk to it.
Yeah, people accept you the way you are.
Everybody come to have fun, you know, without just partying and celebrating and nothing else.
The energy is pretty positive and I feel pretty safe. And just with the security, everything is really organized.
Normally life, I can never wear something like this.
Yeah, there's no pressure. Just wear what you want. So
Actually, I think it's the safest place to be.
I feel definitely safe to express myself.
Shifting our focus to another important aspect of human connections now, the landscape of the club, festival and rave scenes, and has seen significant changes in terms of diversity and inclusion. Historically, there was an overrepresentation of white men. I can say that because I'm a white woman. But in the past few years, there has been a growing emphasis on a more kind of inclusive landscape with lineups that are more representative of different cultures, different identities, and they are enriching our music space and eventually representing better music lovers, because you want your DJ lineup to be a representation of the people that are dancing to it, hopefully. Could you share your thoughts on this? How do you think this is helping to create more connections beyond differences?
Well, I think it's very important that the people you book, when you book different kinds of musical styles, those styles get more well known in the world, and you make a shift in genres. And if you keep booking the same kind of artist, you get a very like monophonic sound, which is not changing. So I like it so much that there is now, for instance, a big hype in Afrobeat, and that's doing very well. It's like with the Kind of Music crew, and I spoke to two DJs just in the cab who do also like Afrotech stuff. And I think it's very important to like, as the festival bookers who make those decisions, to have a very open view, because it's very easy to get too narrowed down on this is like the dominant genre and we should like keep doing that. And I think it's also very important to include a lot of diversity inside of the lineups, because it could be a very important role model for people that have different backgrounds to see that I'm like, hey, I can get there, I can become a DJ and do my musical thing on a big scale. And that's very important for kids, for mostly, to see that.
To see yourself represented in the people that you see on television, but you see performing.
That's very important.
Yeah, for sure. So we talked about the traveling a little bit earlier on in this podcast, but when do you miss genuine connections the most?
Well, I think so. I did one gig on my own in Cyprus, and normally I always take someone. But I think when you are on your own, you really want to have, you want to be treated good by the promoter. Like you want to feel safe a little bit in a new country. So, and then the fans help, of course. If you play in a new country and you're on your own, and there are a lot of fans, it helps to keeps you a bit like feel at home. Mm-hmm. That's important. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Has having to work nights and having to travel loads created a sort of isolation in your personal social life?
Not that much. I have to say, like, I'm not traveling for so long. It's like the first year I'm doing like gigs abroad. And I always bring one of my best friends, who's my tour manager, Tim, most of the time. And sometimes I'm bringing another tour manager called Cody. I brought him to Azerbaijan in Baku. It was a really fun gig. And it really helps to have someone. It's there's this famous movie about like Into the Wild, about like happiness is only, it's such a beautiful meaning.
Yeah. It says happiness is only real when shared.
When it's shared.
Yeah.
And it's so true. It's so true. You feel that when you travel alone. I would always romanticize it in my head, traveling alone, looking outside of the plane window with some music. But it's fun for an hour, and then if you have dinner, you just want to have fun.
Yeah,
that's
true. That's true. I recognize that too.
Yeah.
So we've received some questions from fans from all over the world via our mailbox, and it would be great if you could answer one of them.
Yeah.
So what's your best experience with handling social media, and what's your worst?
Oh, I have to tell. I'm gonna start with the worst because I really hate. I like doing social media, but I really hate the how it works in terms of like how much reach you get and how much engagement you get. It's sometimes it feels like a lottery. You do everything right, and then I have so much analysis in my head, like dark videos. If it's like a dark club, it doesn't work that well and stuff. So it costs me so much time and so much stress because you put so much time and effort in it, because it's a way of communicating to the world what you're doing. And the best, I love TikTok. I just love it. It's such a better platform. If you scroll on Instagram, it's about comparison, and you get more anxiety because you see what everyone does. And TikTok gives you everything in your interest. What's my best experience is that Solomon played my track 80 1.5 years ago, and I was there. And I asked someone to make a video because I just wanted to experience the moment. And he made a perfect video, and I posted it on TikTok, and it got like 1.5 million views. And the track got a lot of plays. So I was like, if you talk about opportunities for different kinds of people, you could blow up on TikTok, have a career in something by just having some original content, which I think is very possible on TikTok and very hard on Instagram.
What's the most heartwarming thing a fan has ever said to you?
Oh, there's so many. I couldn't name like one. I remember like one message where someone was describing like all the things I wanted to like show to the world. And I was like, maybe I should like double down on that, like do more stuff, adventure stuff or open stuff. And then he described everything, like you're an open person, you're energetic, and you put so much passion in your music.
That's so kind.
And you get so many nice messages. It's really beautiful. And I was like, I'm already like expressing what I should. I don't have to double down. I'm already doing it.
Yeah.
So I remember it was from the US, I think, somewhere. It was a really nice message.
Well, big kudos to the people of tomorrow for contributing to these questions. Now let's get back to one of the harder things when it comes to human connections. What do you do when connections are lost or when you face other kinds of mental challenges?
So I would advise every living person on earth to start meditating every morning. I do it for 5 years every morning. I never skip a day. And it's the best thing I've ever done for my mental health. It's you get a better person, you lose your comparison, which gives you anxiety. You just analyze every thought in your head, and you get so much happier by doing that. So meditation is so key for everyone to do.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it's very
So you mentioned earlier that when you tour, you always have your best friend with you. But sometimes I think even being amongst people, you can still feel quite isolated.
Yeah.
What would you recommend to others when that happens?
Well, I think if you feel very isolated within a group of people, there's probably stuff deep inside you that needs to be talked about. So if you feel very anxious or very isolated while you're with people, you probably have a lot of anxiety because you have social anxiety that people think something about you. Or you do something wrong. You probably had parents that were like really strict on you when you were a small kid, and you would do something crazy in a restaurant. They would tell you, don't do that, don't do crazy stuff. And I luckily had a dad who was always like making fun and like making fun of me. And I had a very like upbringing where I saw like you could be a crazy person in public and people wouldn't care.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. And a lot of people, they get raised so like strict. So if you feel anxious, I would recommend everyone to talk to a therapist, like in the world. I think everyone should do it, like covered by the government once a week. We could have like a way better world. Yeah. I'm not saying we don't have a good world. I'm a positive person.
Yeah.
We're getting better and better.
Yeah. And especially here at Tomorrowland, everything's good.
Yeah. And all the cultures, they come together and they have fun. That's beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. So to round things up, let's look back on some of your most valuable human connections over the past years and who owns a very special place in your heart. You mentioned your parents earlier. You mentioned Solomon playing your track 1.5 years ago. Are there any artists that you might run into this weekend that you would like to thank? Like, who do you want to give a shout out to? Your neighbor?
Of course, a shout out to yours for it's for being so grounded and being so inspiring that you can have such a longevity of a career, and while releasing your own music and while being so real. That's what I really like. He's making his own music. He's building albums. He's making remixes. He's doing DJ sets. And then he does a vinyls only set, and then he does a live set. So he does everything, which is inspiring because there's very little artists of that size that still do everything themselves. So big shout out to yours, Forn.
Thank you so much for joining, Rose Ringt.
You're
Good
welcome.
luck on the Freedom stage, but
Thank you.
I don't think you need it. You're so grounded. You're so like you're chill.
Well, there's some nerves. There's some nerves.
And thank you guys at home for listening. Please stay connected and visit our website unitedwedance.tomorrowland.com to listen to more podcasts and read more about our United We Dance program. Till next time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.